Hey there, Brew Crew. Welcome back to the Sixer. Today, I'm going to be talking about my favorite heavy games. Now, I want to preface this with the obligatory heavy in my opinion statement. I don't play many war games or 18xx games, so what is heavy to me might not seem that heavy to you. This is going to be somewhat of a two-parter because shortly after this video is released, I'll also be doing my favorite complex games. The difference being that heavy games may not have a lot of rules, but will have a lot of depths of strategy, whereas complex games generally do have a lot of rules to account for every possible scenario. Personally, I tend to really enjoy heavier games. There's something incredibly satisfying about them, in my opinion. Now, I don't tend to be very good at heavy games, unfortunately, and they don't tend to make it to the table as often because of the amount of energy and brain power that it takes to get through a game. But I enjoy that feeling of accomplishment, though, when I've finished a heavy game and I can see that I've everything that I've built up and completed over the course of the game. These are more or less ranked by how heavy they feel to me, although there is some influence there for how much I like the game as well. So let's get started with my number 6. My number 6 is Ark Nova. Ark Nova is a fantastic game all about building a zoo. It uses a really clever card-based action system that I have not seen in many other games. Civilization: A New Dawn is the only other game I can think of that uses a similar system. But in this game, you're building enclosures and gathering animals to bring visitors to your park, but also completing conservation projects and releasing animals back into the wild to gain conservation points. Uses a similar overlapping score track system that you would see in a game like Rajas of the Ganges. The decision of whether to focus on appeal or conservation or a balance of both is difficult, but you also have multiple options for each of those strategies as to how you're going to accomplish them. So this game was new to me last year and has already climbed pretty high in my favorite games of all time. So that was my number 6, Ark Nova. My number 5 heavy game is Dungeon Pets. This game has such a charming theme where you are raising monsters to be sold to dungeon lords for different uses, like fertilizing their farm fields or keeping adventurers out of their dungeons. This game has a really unique mechanism where the pets will actually grow by turning a wheel that's attached to their token, which is going to increase their needs for the next round. You're able to somewhat predict what the needs will be, so it allows you to plan ahead a little bit. But you want to make sure that your pets stay happy, because if they don't, they'll break out and escape. It's such a cute game, but there's a lot of depth involved. So that's my number 5, Dungeon Pets. Number 4 on my list of heavy games is Trajan by one of my favorite game designers, Stefan Feld. This game uses essentially multiple mini-games all rolled into one large thinky Euro game. All these mini-games are controlled by a Mancala mechanism in which you pick up the bits in one bowl and distribute them around, and wherever that final piece lands, that's the action you're going to take. There are also tokens that you can place on each of the bowls that will give you a bonus if you manage to get the right color combination on that action space. Wrestling with that puzzle of trying to get the action that you want with the right combination of tokens is really difficult, but really enjoyable for me. So that was my number 4, Trajan. My number 3 might look like it belongs on the complex games list, but Feast for Odin is actually fairly easy to get the hang of once you understand the worker placement board and how it's organized. But that's not to say that this isn't an incredibly deep game with a long shipload of choices to make and strategies to try. You can hunt, farm, plunder, go whaling, even send your Vikings out to explore new islands. And I'm sure that there are folks out there who can tell you what the optimal strategy is for this game, but for a gamer like me who loves to push buttons and pull levers, there's so much to explore in this game. We also have the Norwegians expansion, which makes the game even better in my opinion. So that's my number 3, Feast for Odin. Number 2 on my list is my second favorite game all about making wine, and that is Vinhos. We've collected nearly all of Vital Lacerda's major titles so far, and while I know he's got heavier games out there, and we've even played some of them, Vinhos is my favorite of his games that I've played so far. It mixes viticulture with heavy economics, and it ends up feeling very thematic in that way. At the end of the game, I start to wonder if maybe I am qualified to run a vineyard in Portugal. This is one that I do wish made it to the table a little bit more frequently because of how much I love the game, but it can be difficult to find the people and the brain power to get this one played. But that's my number 2, Vinhos. And finally, my number 1 heavy game is Food Chain Magnate. This is not the heaviest game we own, and it's not even the heaviest game that I've played, but it is the heaviest game that I've really enjoyed playing. We were a little bit late to the game on this one, and it definitely was a try before you buy situation for us, but once we did try it, we rushed out to buy it. The interaction between players is interesting and pretty cutthroat, but while we don't typically tend to go for that style of game, in this one it felt okay. What I really enjoyed, though, is spending the time each round to basically build out the org chart for my fast food chain. I thought this was a very clever and oddly thematic mechanism that creates some really difficult decisions. I probably will only ever play this one with people who are on about my same level, though, because I could definitely see how people could get really good at this game. But for now, it's definitely my favorite heavy game. Alright folks, that was my list of favorite heavy games. In the comments section, let me know what your favorite heavy games are, and what heavy games you think I should try. Remember that in the next few days, you'll also be seeing my list of favorite complex games as well. And until next time, let's get another round for the table. Hey everybody, don't forget to like and comment on this video. If you found value in this video at all, it would mean a lot to us if you consider subscribing to the channel as well. Don't forget to click the notification button so you'll know when we put out a new video. Cheers!